So what exactly are p-values? P-value stands for probability value. It's the probability of obtaining observed data assuming that the null hypothesis is true. In other words, do the data we collected follow the expected hypothesis? What's the null hypothesis, I hear you ask? The null hypothesis is a default of no difference. So if we do see a significant difference, we can reject the null hypothesis. But if there's no difference, we cannot reject it. The alternative hypothesis states that there is a difference. Let's look at an example. Two groups of people are given two different diets. Our null hypothesis is that there is no difference between the weight loss of diet 1 or diet 2. The alternative hypothesis is that there is a difference in weight loss between the two diets. The p-value provides evidence to help us decide if we can reject the null hypothesis or not. A stats test is performed, in this case an independent t-test. It produces a p-value of 0.25. This would be written as p equals 0.25. The smaller the p-value, the lower the chance of observing our result, assuming that the null hypothesis is true. Most academics use a cutoff of 0.05. This means that if the null hypothesis is true, there is a 5% chance or less of getting our result. Anything equal to or less than 0.05 means our outcome is significantly different and we can reject the null hypothesis. In our earlier example, our p-value was 0.25. Since we did not reach our cutoff of 0.05, we conclude that there is no significant difference between the two diets. We have not been able to reject the null hypothesis. Some subjects say that less than 10% shows weak evidence for an effect, whilst others are very strict about 5%, so check with your lecturer. You will probably see results written like this, which means that the p-value is less than 0.05 and therefore significantly different. Which means that the p-value is more than 0.05 and not significantly different. Stats packages automatically produce outputs a bit like this one. All you have to do is find the p-value in the table to see if there is a significant difference or not. In this case, p is less than 0.001, which is significantly different and allows us to reject the null hypothesis. Let's recap. P-value stands for probability value. In most subjects, a p-value of 0.05 or less indicates a significant difference and allows us to reject the null hypothesis. P-values can provide evidence for a hypothesis, they do not prove it. Statistical packages will automatically generate p-values for you.